Sean Ryder, mate, you call that radio. Call the cops.
Is this a Netflix thing?
It's actually a podcast.
What the fuck's a podcast?
You know, it's kind of like a radio show.
Call that radio.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm absolutely buzzing. Rowetta, how you doing?
I'm really well, thank you. I had a really busy week, but I had a bit of a day off yesterday, and I feel great today.
Amazing. What's it like? Because obviously nothing really happened for about a year or so, and now it looks like you're busy again.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it was 19 months with no gigs, but I've not stopped working. I've recorded loads, and that's kept me going. I have a studio at home. Without that, I think I'd have gone absolutely mad, because the music, even things like pubs and stuff, they did open a little bit, but with the music industry, we just weren't allowed to perform. I even went to Ibiza and was told I wasn't allowed to sing because it would encourage people to dance. So it really, really just threw me. And, you know, personally, it really, really upset me. I got really low. I don't get depressed, but I was getting there, you know.
Well, that's it. I mean, there was a few, I know that based on the different levels, there was times where there was like a small amount of music was allowed, and, you know, sort of background music in restaurants and stuff. But the music you do requires on people getting on their feet and dancing.
Well, even if it doesn't, just singing in a microphone, singing into a microphone wasn't allowed. So I did a couple of virtual streams for charity, and even those people would come and try and get me to stop singing in a microphone. So it wasn't even just, you know, performing with bands. I don't just sing house music. I do all kinds of music, and I wasn't allowed to do any of it. And, you know, I do a lot of balls and stuff for charity. I wouldn't have been able to do anything like that because they weren't allowing any level of music at all, even without the dancing. But certainly in Ibiza, I wasn't allowed to do it because I would encourage people to dance. But over here, I was just upset that I couldn't even get up and sing in a friend's pub or a friend's bar if I wanted to when they were open, which just seemed ridiculous to me. I didn't get it. But anyway, it's over now. Hopefully we don't go back.
Fingers crossed it's over for good. And it's so, have you just went, has it just been 100 miles an hour straight back into it? Busy, because you said it was a really busy week last week.
Yeah.
Has it just been straight into it, or has it been gradually coming back into the...
Well, the bookings, like getting things rescheduled, it was building slowly, and I was a bit worried because I was seeing other people getting loads and loads of gigs coming in. And then all of a sudden, I've looked at my diary and I can't fit stuff in, which is amazing, because a lot of the rescheduled stuff, they're trying to reschedule for the same days, because a lot of people want you to do it on a Saturday, a Friday night, or a Sunday, bank holidays and stuff. So I'm having to turn down some of the gigs that I had now that are being rescheduled because they're clashing, like with Monday's gigs, my solo gigs, stuff in Ibiza and Mallorca and things. So it's brilliant, but it's a great position to be in. Last week I thought I had 4 gigs, and then I got 2 extra ones with Gorillas, with Sean Ryder singing with Gorillas at the O2. So, I mean, I've just had the most amazing week, ending with a great gig with the Mondays at Stone Valley Festival South. We're actually playing the North one there in September. It was fantastic. And so, yeah, it's just had a really great 6 gigs in a week, but they're all brilliant, different private parties, all sorts. But it's been, yeah, really, really great. And singing all different kinds of music. I did Hacienda Classics at one night, and I did Happy Mondays, another, Gorillas Dare, another. So just, honestly, I'm really buzzing because I've not done it for so long. And then all of a sudden you do it. And I thought I'd be exhausted by the end of it, but I'm not. I'm just buzzing for the next one, which is great.
What was it like? I seen some footage of the Gorillas gig. It was a free gig they done for NHS workers, is that right? What was the atmosphere like at that?
Yeah, the first night was, and then it was a sold out Gorillas gig the second night. So the first night, it was brilliant because it was for a great, great cause. All the people there were either NHS workers or the families. And, well, most of them, I did have a few mates that I know must have known Damon Albarn and got in. But it was just a fantastic, fantastic atmosphere. And it's huge. The O2 is huge. It's one of the larger places in the UK. And the buzz was just amazing. The production they put on is phenomenal. You know, I mean, we put on a good production, Happy Mondays, and I do a lot of festivals where it's a good production. Things like Glastonbury are massive. But honestly, Gorilla's production is as good or better than most. It's just fantastic with the visuals, the band, the backstage people. There's loads of like tour managers just tour managers looking after everybody. And there was Robert Smith from The Cure, Lee John from Imagination. There were just loads and loads of different stars backstage. And it was just the coolest things to do. And then the following night, we did it to a sold-out Gorillaz audience, where they knew all the words to every song. So it was a different experience again. I was terrified. Please don't get the words wrong in front of Gorillaz, because I literally had a few days to learn the song. And but when me and Sean came off the stage as we were coming off, Sean, I've not seen him like that for years, where he was just buzzing and saying, "God, how good was that?" And I was like, "No, it was just phenomenal. It really, really was."
And was it so Sunday? Sorry, was that your first gig back with the Mondays then?
No, it's the second one actually, but the first one was a festival we did called Carfest with Chris Evans. But I think the audience there was a little bit more mixed. We went on after McFly, so it was a good gig. It was a good gig, but you know what I mean? It was more of a very young family audience, pop audience, really. So if you go on after McFly, then they might not know all the tunes. And Sean got lost. I couldn't find the stage backstage. So he went missing. So we had to only do about half an hour anyway. But it was a nice half hour. It was a nice welcome back. But this one this week, Stone Valley Festival, was more proper. It was more of we were headlining. We went on after the Selector, who I love. There were people like Bad Manners, the Selector, Skids, Sham 69. It was a lot of just great bands, but like more punk. And that's more of our audience. So we had an audience that absolutely loved us, knew all the tunes. And yeah, it was just brilliant. And I ended up bringing Jamie Winston on stage for the end for Hope for Luck, Ray Winston's daughter, who's an amazing actress as well and a great girl. So we just had a real buzz. It was just a brilliant end to a brilliant week. And that was for me more of a welcome back. Happy Mondays, we're back. And can't wait for the next one. We've got now gigs pretty much every week. We're doing more festivals. And then an arena tour at the end of the year with James, the band James, which will be great.
Do you know what? I've actually, one of my friends is Soapy. He's part of the James fan club.
Oh.
He asked me to ask you if you're looking forward to playing again with James in November, and how different is it now touring with bands again that they've played with in the 80s and 90s?
Well, we've not done it yet. Well, we have. I've sung with James actually. I sang with James at the Manchester Arena for Manchester versus Cancer, and I love Tim Booth and James, and I've known him for years. But do you know what? It's really funny with the band James. It used to switch, and it still does. Sometimes we headline, sometimes they do. I think they're headlining the arena tour at the end of the year because they've got a new album out and they're still creating new music. And we're both pretty big, but James is headlining this one. But it used to, we never know who was going to be headliners because we both got a nice, great fan base. And so it's just going to be great. I'm really, really looking forward to it, to be honest. Doing arenas with our band and with James, the audience are in for a real treat. It's going to be great. I don't know if I'll be singing with James again, which is a shame because I loved it. We did it with an orchestra. We did the song Atmosphere a few years ago. It was beautiful. But and I'm looking forward to it.
Am I right in saying you were recording with was it the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra?
Rehearsing today. I've worked with them loads, to be honest. We've done lots of gigs together. I first did work with them for Children in Need back in 2005. But I'm really, really lucky. I did a Christmas concert with them just before lockdown. So it's like, I remember the first time I did it, I'm like, wow, I'm working with the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra. But I'm lucky I've got like a big voice that works well with orchestras, and I get asked to sing with orchestras quite a lot. And for me, it comes natural. It's as easy for me as singing with a rock band, but I'm singing something phenomenal. I don't even know why. I said, I gave a list of songs that I could sing for this special event that's happening in September. And for some reason, I put this one on that I've never sung before. And they've gone with that one instead of picking one that I do all the time. Because I was going to do Stop Crying Your Heart Out, Oasis, because it's a Manchester themed thing we're doing. Anyway, they've gone for this other song. I won't say what it is to spoil the surprise. But all I'll say is it's quite a long song. It's a big song. It's probably one of my favourite Manchester songs. But it'll be amazing with the orchestra. So, I've just started rehearsing today. Luckily, I don't need to learn the words because there's millions of words. But I'm going to be reading it from a sheet, which is a first for me. I don't normally, but it's more for a radio.
That's the advantage of an orchestra. You get one of those little things. What do you call them?
Yeah. Stand anyway. Yeah. A lectern. It's a lectern. A lectern, but I call it a stand. No, but the thing is, I don't normally, when I sing with an orchestra, normally I know the song backwards, but I've got too many gigs before September the 17th. So it's a lot of words to learn. So instead of putting pressure on myself, for one time only, I'm going to I will know it, but I might not know all the words, and I will have that stand lectern in front of me as a backup, as a security blanket.
Like a really high budget karaoke, basically, because you can actually read the words.
Well, I don't do karaoke, but yeah, Sean uses an auto cue. It's famously, so he's a bit like that. But I famously don't. I'm not really into karaoke at all. But I know there's a place for it, and people love it. But it's not me. And the odd time I've been dragged into a bar in Tenerife or somewhere and sung a bit of karaoke, and then won 50 quid, €50 by accident. It's, there's almost blood was shed. It's like, I don't want to enter. I don't want the money. It was just, I'd only go up for a laugh. So I don't like the. Sometimes it can get a bit hostile. Them karaoke. It's my song. I'm singing that one. It's not really my cup of tea.
What was wondering? Do you think one of the reasons that it's so natural for you to move into orchestra after playing with rock bands is, I suppose that there's an element of there's less when you're on stage with a rock band and you've got feedback coming from all the guitar amps and stuff like that. It's quite a noisy environment to try and sort of sing. So I suppose that an orchestra is just a lot smoother for keeping yourself together.
Not really, because either way, you should have a great monitor man on stage. And obviously, through the years, I've had really bad monitors. I've had feedback from all kinds of different gigs. I've had feedback when there's only a keyboard and a drummer. In a working men's club, some of the sounds have been terrible. So I'm used to that, but I know I can sing. I know I can sing well, and you've got to know that. So I'm confident that even if the music's all sounding terrible, I'd be likely to say, turn it all off. Shut up, a lot of you, and let me just sing, because if it's painful to me, it's probably painful for the audience, or if it's too much feedback. I like normal guitar feedback, like normal noise. I like it loud, so I'm more likely to say turn the orchestra up, turn everything up, because I really love it loud. I love everything loud on stage, as loud as you can without it distorting. But to me, good music is good music, and none of it should be distorted. It should all sound pleasant to the ears. And I should be able to hear my voice over it on stage, which I usually can. As I say, I'm really lucky though now, because I'm working with people at the top of the game, and like BBC Philharmonic, Manchester Camerata is another orchestra I sing with. But I've sung with quite a few orchestras. I'm very, very lucky. And but you've got the top people doing the sound. So you can't really go wrong. And the same with the Mondays. And a lot of the clubs I sing in, they're not like the working men's clubs I used to do. You've got somebody proper doing the sound at a lot of these festivals, and and the places like even in Ibiza, some of the clubs are singing there. They've got top sound engineers and top monitors and top equipment. So I'm really blessed. But it's because I've learned on a load of some really, really bad places I've sung in all over the world, all over the country here. And, even Scotland, I did a Scottish tour of 21 gigs in one weekend, a PA tour. Some of the sounds in some of them clubs weren't as good. You literally, this was like, God, this was in the 90s, I think. No, the 80s. I was with Vanilla Soundcore before I joined the Mondays, and we'd go into a club, sing one song, and then out again, have a drink of whiskey, and out again, because that's my favourite drink, obviously. A lot of people know I love my Scotch whiskey. And one night, I think on the Saturday night, I won it, where you've got to guess which whiskey's which. I won. I beat you Scottish guys on Scottish whiskey. On which one's which?
On Scottish soil as well. What is your favourite whiskey? What's the best?
What? I like the blended rubbish ones. Your Johnny Walker, famous grouse, Bells. I like that because I drink it with Diet Pepsi, and so it's wasted. If you give me a good whiskey, it's wasted on me. I just drink, as they say, the cheap shit, and I love it. But I don't drink anything else, to be honest. When I'm in Ireland, I sometimes have a Bushmills. I used to drink Bushmills for quite a long time. But in honesty, I really do prefer me cheap Bells, famous grouse, Johnny Walker. And when they give me the Johnny Walker expensive one, I prefer the red label. Not just because of the price, because it just goes down easier. But I've learned now not to drink too much, just have a couple, and go to bed early. Otherwise, you can't do as many gigs as I do, and I'm driving a lot as well, so you can't be drinking loads and loads. But when I was young, I really did enjoy my whiskey. Yeah,
that's what I always wondered, because obviously when my band goes on tour, we only play like a weekend tour, maybe a few festivals or a few gigs over a long weekend. So just the idea of playing, going on a 30-day tour with Happy Mondays and partying, something's got to give. It can't just go full on the whole time.
Well, it's very difficult when your best mate's Bez. I do find it easier when I do gigs without him. This week, the reason I managed to do last week 6 gigs, I managed to go to bed early every night, is because I was only with Bez on the last night. and that's the only night I'd late up. And it wasn't that late anyway, because he went on his holidays. But honestly, we did a 30-day tour of the UK, and that was a lot of late nights. Because we do after parties. Me and Bez usually do an after party as well. So we can be up till 4 and then everyone back to the hotel. So what we need to do is to stop saying, come back to the hotel. We need to sleep. And we've learned to do it as we've got older. We did Australia and New Zealand, and that was a sold out tour, brilliant. But me and Bez were doing after parties till 4 and then getting on a plane at 6. And then I had to go to sound check in the afternoon of wherever we'd like in Perth. We'd go from one end of Australia to the other, one side to the other. And we just ran on adrenaline and not drinking too much and managing to sleep. You've just got to make yourself sleep. And I thought it was because the older you get, but to be honest, we just perform better and look better, and we are healthier. Whatever age we were, I wish I'd done it a bit younger because I gave up smoking about 10 years ago. And you just feel better for it. Bez doesn't smoke weed now; he doesn't smoke anything. And I think if we'd have carried on smoking, me my cigarettes and his weed, I think that would have we'd have struggled a bit now. But he's actually training to be championship boxing or celebrity boxing or something at the moment. So he's in really good nick, yeah.
Oh, amazing.
And he's been doing MasterChef. He's doing well on. So he's in really good nick. But yeah, so he's trying to go to bed early a little bit more because he used to be hard work keeping up with him in the past. But then he had a break from partying for a bit. And when we got back together again, it was me going, "Come on, Bez, stay up." And he's going, "No, I'm going to bed," because he'd have his young son the next day. So he'd want to go to bed. My kids are grown now, so I want to party all night. But yeah, we've hit a bit of a brick wall now where we can only do a couple of nights in a row, and then we've got to have a night in.
Well, I actually bumped into Bez once at Eden Festival, and I just spoke to him briefly, and he was really nice and down to earth. But it was kind of everybody was just wanting to get a photo taken with him, so I let him to it. But I mean, he seems to be really busy just now. In general, you just mentioned the celebrity boxing, MasterChef.
Yeah,
and I seen Bez and Sean doing. Is it the goggle box or the TV?
Well, Sean loves doing TV anyway. He's been doing it since he did The Jungle, and like Bez did Big Brother, but he didn't really. And I did X Factor. We did years and years ago, 2004, like 17 years ago or something. But we didn't enjoy all that reality stuff and doing the TV. But now, since Bez and Sean have done Gogglebox, they're loving doing, they get offered a lot and they say yes a lot, and it's makes them a lot of money. It's done them well during lockdown, which is great for them. But they really enjoy it, and I'm loving the nation loving them. It's been brilliant, I think, and I've been asked to do a few things, but really I've been really concentrating on my music. So, but I'll probably do something, but I just want to be selective. I don't want to just do Mr. and Mrs. and like Sean loves doing all them telly things. I just still, sometimes you think, it's hard to shake them off when you do. I've done a few things for BBC Music Day. I did Pointless Celebrities with Sean, and I did Bargain Hunt with Bez. But we got done for cheating. I know. So it's really fun.
Was that true? Where are you cheating?
Well, because Bez kept saying we bought a load of rubbish, so we're not going to get any money for it. So his girlfriend was in the audience. We didn't know, but she started bidding, thinking she was helping. But then nobody else bid after her. So we ended up winning our own stuff, but she did and he's kicking off. Like she was going £8, and we didn't know because we were in another room. So we didn't know, but everything was fine and we won. And then we went home, and then we got a call from the producers saying that they wouldn't be able to put it out because it looked like we were cheating. And we're like, what? So we'd have to go and refilm it. And Jarvis Cocker said he wouldn't come and film it because it's filmed in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in the middle of Kent. So it's about 4 hours to get there. And so Jarvis didn't want to come back and do it, but we did, and we had another funny day. So
he's banned from Bargain Hunt.
No, I think we were going to have us on again. I think we were just asked to do Antique Roadshow as well. So no, it makes I think its ratings were the biggest ever, to be honest, because they repeat it. When people know, they just go, "How can you cheat on Bargain Hunt?" And all my mates were asking me when I said we've been done for cheating, "How you can't?" And I went, "I know." So you just got to watch it. So a lot of people just watched it out of curiosity, and again we came out of it well. So it's all good.
And you mentioned about "Stop Crying Your Heart Out" was one of the songs you wanted to do with the orchestra. That was also one of the songs that you wanted to do in X Factor as well.
Yeah, it was. It's years ago, but it's 17 years ago. I ended up being the last woman standing. But every song that I wanted to sing, I wasn't really allowed to do, just to try and bring it back and make myself a bit cool again, rather than just this. I did a mad audition drunk, and then people going, "What are you doing that for?" But I did it for my grandma, and she was really happy, and I did well out of it. But yeah, I was a bit pissed off they wouldn't let me do Stop Crying Your Heart Out, because Liam was I really had his support during the show, and a lot of cool people were supporting me and backing me. And I would have loved to have done it, and I thought it was a great song. I ended up doing it though for the Mr. and Mrs. Smith soundtrack with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. So it did all right. Got on that soundtrack, and that's so yeah. It was good. So it would have done well on the X Factor, but it's just a show. Probably it might have made me win, and maybe that's why they didn't want me to sing it.
So because I watched your audition, and I wasn't sure if that was part of the act. Because obviously, I know that reality.
It was 17 years ago, though. 17 years ago, so I don't really. If you're going to ask me anything about the X Factor, I don't really remember that much.
I don't really know much. I don't really watch X Factor, so I don't have any.
It's finished now, apparently. It's finished now, but I didn't watch it for years. But it was the very first. It was the very first episode.
You just turned up and did the audition. You just done the audition drunk for a laugh, basically.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't just drunk. I had nicotine patches on. But nobody believes me. Everyone thinks I was just drunk. Now I had 3 nicotine patches on. Anyone who knows me, I can handle my drink a bit better than that. I'm not really as bad as that. That was like weird. But it was a long time ago. I don't know what happened, but I did have 3 nicotine patches on. And that's the truth.
It did do good for your career though. There was because from that there was a lot of other things that happened.
In some ways, I got like a really great gay audience, which is fantastic. So I did all the prides. And I wasn't doing much while that was going on. So, yes, it was fine. And my grandma, as I said, was really proud. She wanted me to be famous, and she didn't see Happy Mondays as, she didn't get it Happy Mondays. She didn't get the house music stuff. So whatever I'd done in the past, she just didn't understand why I wasn't on TV like her favourite singers, because she said you're as good as anybody. So it made a day, and she ended up with newspaper cuttings all over a wall. But as I said, it's about 17 years ago, and it took me a long time to shake that tag. And I was the last woman standing. I'm proud of that still. I think it's for all the people who enter, considering I did this mad audition, I think it's pretty, I did really well.
Amazing. Well, we'll get off at X Factor. I've got a question from Jodie Ark, who's in my band, the Gyro Baby. She's also an amazing punk duo.
That's a good name. I like the name of your band. It's good.
Yeah, thank you. And she's in a punk duo called the Twistettes, and she's also in a solo electro band called Minerva Wakes. And she was asking, because what's the pros and cons of being a solo artist compared to playing in a band? Because she's working her new projects, basically, she's going out as a solo artist. So she's just wondering what the difference, the pros and cons are, because obviously I imagine there's a bit of both.
The pros of doing everything is that you don't get bored with one thing. I do everything. I do rock bands, I do ballads at balls, I write songs all the time, but all different genres. I do sing with orchestras. I do everything. I'm writing a book at the moment. I'm doing everything that I want to do because I'm at an age where I can, and I've proved myself now. I'm sampled a lot in house music and things. But yeah, it's doing everything so you don't get bored. And, because I get offered to do, or I've been offered to do a lot of musicals, but I don't want to do the same show every night in a theatre, the same theatre for 6 weeks. I don't know if I could. I could do it, but I might be pretty bored if I didn't do anything else. So I've not wanted to do that. I may do one day if I feel really, really settled and happy, and there's a role that I really want to play, maybe. But the idea of just going out and singing for a bit in Chicago doesn't do it for me for 6 weeks. So I would need. I like variety in my life and my music, and and even in my friends, I go to different countries to spend time with different friends. So that's what I think. It keeps me fresh as well, and it keeps my music fresh. It keeps my inspiration for songwriting fresh. Just doing lots and lots of different things, and then never getting bored with one genre. That's why I don't get bored with singing with the Mondays, because I do loads in between. And I've been singing those songs for years, since it started in 1990. But I don't get bored with them because I add things to them now, because I do different kinds of music. So I'll probably add a little bit of a house, hook in over something one night. And if it works, I'll do it again. And that's what I do.
And of course, I mean, the songs that you're singing with the Happy Mondays as well, they are just so good. And
yeah,
every pub and club round the country, every weekend or every even weeknight, as soon as they kick in, people get excited. Never mind when it's happening live in front of you. I've seen Happy Mondays
definitely
many
but
times.
even
incredible.
Even the songs that aren't played every week in the pubs, like the well-known ones, they're just really good songs. Even the ones that weren't dead popular at the time, a lot of people are saying now they are great. Really good songs, good melodies, great lyrics, and great band playing them. I'm dead good on him. I'm dead proud of what I do with the Mondays. Everybody on each record, to be honest, and that's not being big-headed. That's just truth and why these songs, I think, have lasted. And I tell you what, we always go down amazingly in Scotland. I love Glasgow's my favourite place to play in the world. Barrowlands was my favourite gig at the time ever. Obviously, I've played some amazing gigs since, but I always got asked when we toured the Mondays the first time round, where's your favourite gig to play? And we just done Maracana Stadium, we've done Wembley, we've done all over the world, and Glastonbury. And I used to say Barrowlands. So there you go.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you as well. I've not played all those places, but I've been fortunate enough to play the Barras a few times myself. And I think it's just that nice size of crowd, isn't it? Because
exactly.
Sometimes when you get to you start getting to bigger and bigger stadiums or whatever, you can sometimes lose a bit of the atmosphere. But the Barras, the crowd are locked in, the floor's bouncing.
Yeah.
And it just makes for an amazing atmosphere.
I've done it with another band supporting Ocean Colour Scene. I can't remember what the band was, but I have done it with another band. It wasn't the same. I must have mixed. It's a different audience, Ocean Colour Scene, to the Mondays. But the Mondays crowd in a Barrowlands that year, whatever it was in the 90s, 1992 or whatever it was just perfect. Perfect time and the perfect gig, the perfect venue and the perfect crowd from Glasgow. I just loved it. It's one of my favourite memories ever. But obviously, sometimes Glastonbury with David Bowie watching at the side, that's got to be right up. There's a few now. We've done quite a few. Wembley Stadium, when we played with Oasis, was amazing. So I've got lots of great memories. But Barrowlands is up there, by the way. And also, I loved watching Stone Roses at Glasgow Green. Amazing.
I was at that gig as well.
Yeah,
I was
incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible.
It was amazing to see those songs played live.
Well, they were all. I loved them all their reunion gigs. I loved, but Glasgow Green again. It's the crowd. There's something about Glasgow, and Manny says it. Loads of people in bands have said the same thing. There's something about a Glasgow crowd. I have to be careful because then you get people from Dublin going, "What about us?" and Manchester obviously saying, "What about us?" But you've got everywhere for the Mondays. But I'm just saying,
it's 80% Scottish listeners here anyway, so everyone will be enjoying that. And you start playing.
It's the truth, though. I don't just say it in Scotland. I've always said it. You can check any interviews I've ever said. That's the truth.
And it's you're playing. We might as well plug the gig. You're playing with James on the 30th of November at the Hydro, which we mentioned earlier on as well. So I
played there a couple of times before. I think I did it with Hacienda Classical last time, and so I'm really looking forward to playing it with the Mondays. I think it'll be even better because you can't beat Happy Mondays in Glasgow. I don't think you can beat it because everyone they know and love it. They've been to gigs that haven't been that good in the past and they still loved it. So have we, because the crowd, it's like a football crowd for us, and for me, if you play a tune they like, that crowd, it's just like someone's just scored a goal, a hat trick, that's won you everything. So yeah, it's an amazing feeling.
Well, just going back to the book that you're writing there, because obviously it must be quite good to sort of, is it based on, is it your story basically that you're working on?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's been good fun to kind of go back into the past.
No, it's
get nostalgia, or
no, it's not been. I've not enjoyed it. That's why it's taking so long for me to decide. I've only decided now that I'm going to do it because I've tried and started. So I've been offered deals before, but I've never been ready. I've had quite some horrible things happen in my life, so I found it really hard to go over some of it. But then I realised you don't have to cover everything. There are bits I can just leave out if it's too hurtful. So, and I've grown up now. I've sat and had a proper chat with a proper publisher. I was flown to Mallorca and went on somebody's yacht, and I've still not signed the book deal, but it's looking really, really good. It's somebody who really, really wants to bring this book out. So, so I've got a lot of it done, but I'm going to get with another writer and do it properly, and it will be done. But so I'm just not doing as many of these talking about my life anymore. Not as many, because I do need to get it all into a book and get it done, because a lot of women don't do it from Manchester. They've not got a story. My story is unusual. I have a politician dad who was shot. So there's lots and lots of stuff. And a lot of people know I came from a very, very violent marriage. So, and got out of it. So I'm not going to go into it over and over again now. I'm going to put it all in a book.
That's a great. And what about the writing process in itself? You said it was a bit of a struggle at first. Have you got into a kind of flow with it? And
no, that's what I'm getting now. Yeah. I've just had to choose someone to do the book with, where I can put it all together. What I've done is record and write lots and lots of bits of my story, and then get too upset and stop. But I've got it all saved there, so it's putting all that together, and that's what I will do. So I've just been waiting for the right time, to be honest. And now I know I don't have to put every single detail into the book. Then it's going to make it easier for me. But yeah, I've got lots and lots of notes scribbled down, lots of stuff in my phone, lots of stuff on my MacBook. And it's getting all that together when I get some time off. Probably after the arena tour, I'll really do that. But what I'm going to do for now is each week I will be doing at least a couple of days of chatting with the other writer. I'm just going, as I say, it's a bit of a complicated process, but just going through it now and sorting out my book deal, which is it's exciting for me though, because there's a great story there, but it was I just didn't think I'd want to tell it, but it lots of people want to read it, and it will inspire, hopefully, especially women, not just women, but it'll inspire people. You can come from nothing and lose everything and come back, and and instead of just saying it on a little podcast for people about domestic violence, when people want to talk about mental health on a podcast, and I don't think a lot of them are qualified to be doing mental health shows. It can mess people up even more. So I want to stop doing anything to do with mental health or even domestic violence. I find it too hard because I speak about it and try and do campaigns or take part. Well, then you get people who are in the situation now contacting me, wanting me to help them, but it's not really my job. Or, I'm not trained to help them. I'm just somebody who's been through it. So all I can do is give them the numbers and the emails and the websites. But really, they don't want that. They want to talk to me about it. And it's like, I can't, and it brings me proper down. So that is waiting for me to save it all for my book, and then it'll be put away and done. And hopefully I'll feel better for doing it. It should be cathartic, should make me feel better, hopefully. And if it doesn't, then I'll stop and the book won't come out.
It's a very good observation that there is a lot of podcasts that kind of go down those routes, and they aren't qualified to be giving people advice. And yet they do it anyway. But what I would actually like to ask your advice on, well, Ashley Crossan and Lou McLean were asking me to ask you about for vocal care routines. What kind of vocal exercises that you do? They're both great singers, and I was just wondering what your process is. I
don't do anything.
No.
I don't do anything. I used to have a cigarette or two and a whiskey and Diet Coke. That's it. And I go, yippee, just before I go on. That's all I do. You're supposed to do stuff, but I don't do anything. I've never had a lesson. Somebody tried to teach me, and she went, "Oh, I can't teach you." But I did the exercise, and it's like, "No, you can't, because I'm a better singer, and I don't need to really be taught how to breathe. I just think about the lyrics, and I always think about the lyrics. I don't sing songs. I've done a couple that I didn't like the words of, and it didn't mean anything to me, and then I decided I'm not going to do that again. And so I write most of my lyrics, and if I'm singing somebody else's songs, that they have to make sense to me. I have to connect with the lyrics, and that's why I sing songs well. People connect. It doesn't matter if I've done a perfect vocal. A lot of the time I sound like I have, because people have connected to the song and make people cry. Not because it's bad, but because it might not be perfect, as I've said, but it touches people. And that's what always got me into singing, that I have this way of portraying a song and singing the words. And a lot of singers have it, whatever genre you sing. It's like having a natural soul coming from your soul without being soul music necessarily. Even if it's punk, having this natural thing that comes from your heart and soul. And I've always sung like that. The thing I do though, if I've got a bit of a tickly throat and stuff, because I know it's best to warm up, but because Tim Booth warms up doing that, oh, la, 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 and I find it really embarrassing. I'm like, who the fuck would do that in front of people? But he does. But it's probably better than, I'm sure I'd do a better performance if I did all that shit, but I don't. What I do though now is, and when I was having like problems with my throat, because I smoked and ended up giving up smoking, which she also said, if you're embarrassed about doing warm-ups or you don't want to, just hum. So when I'm on the way to a gig, if I'm driving, I hum. Just hum in the car, and it clears your throat, rather than singing all them ridiculous, unnecessary vocal. A lot of them, they're just vocal exercises that people rip you off. So they rip it off. I've been asked to teach people to sing who blatantly can't sing, and I could have charged them a load of money. I could have charged them £50 half an hour and pretended I can teach them to sing and give them vocal exercises, but I'm so against it. I give people advice. I've been into schools and given people advice for nothing, because and make them people who can't sing shut up. Stop having your parents telling you can sing, hoping they'll make it's best telling them, are you good at anything else? Can you draw? That's the best advice I could give. Because some people, they're just lying to you for either money or they, like if you've got a pretty face, sometimes it's better to stick to modelling or something else. You don't have to sing. You can't all be Cheryl Cole miming.
How hard was it to quit smoking?
Well, I did it I got an advice from Hookie's wife, actually. She told me there was this guy in Hebden Bridge, doesn't advertise, Dr. John Landale, doesn't advertise, but he helped Coldplay stop smoking. Could you smoking as well? He'd helped Coldplay stop smoking. And Molly Sugden from Are You Being Served? They were the only famous people she knew that he'd done. And it's called neuroacupuncture. And I don't know how it works. You put a thing in my ear and I stopped smoking. I had like loads of cigarettes from a duty free at home waiting for me. I had a box of cigs in the car, never smoked again. I don't know how it worked. A little thing in my ear, and he said, when you want one, play with it. And I never played with it. And then about a year later, I was with this guy who used to smoke a lot in Serbia, and I ended up buying a packet of cigs because I was drunk and smoked again. And then I went to go and play with this thing in my ear, and it'd gone. So I went straight back to Hebden Bridge when I got back to the UK and had another one put in, a suncture or something they're called. And it worked again. So I've never smoked since. I just know I can never have another puff of one, never buy a pack. And honestly, it's over 9 years, never smoked.
Yeah, I've got a constant battle with trying to quit smoking. I do well for a while, and then I do it again. So I'm trying. It's obviously now that things are opening back up. I suppose it's even more impressive for when you're touring around and
yeah,
there's a temptation there to smoke.
Well, no, there is no the temptation when, honestly, it went about 5 years ago, because I used to go to Spain quite a lot. When you sat on the balcony having a drink and you think, I'm missing something, it's a cigarette. But I'd stopped missing it about 5 years ago, thank God. And I probably don't go out with people who smoke as much all the time. I was with a chain smoker when I restarted smoking again. So I don't smoke. And Bez doesn't smoke. A lot of my friends don't smoke now. I don't really go to people's houses if they sit in the house and smoke. So there's nothing tempting about it, but really for me, I never wanted to stop smoking. I loved it, and I loved even what it did to my voice. But there was a time when my voice just wasn't recovering from a late night at all, and people had stopped smoking in houses, people were smoking outside, and I just couldn't get rid of the sore throat all the time. So since I stopped smoking, I don't have them terrible coughs, and I'm not having to go outside in the freezing cold and have a cigarette, because that's no good for a singer. So yeah, it was purely because I'm a singer. As soon as I hit 40, I thought I need to start thinking about it. And luckily, I found somebody at the right time that it stopped. And it's just been amazing. What my voice is just so much better for not smoking. Really is.
Did you just notice an improvement straight away, or?
No, because I was just worried it'd lose that smoky sound, which I like, and that grit in it. But it's still there. Still got that. And it's just that I just don't have sore throats as much. I don't have coughs. I don't have them particularly horrible coughs and catarrh and mucus and all that horrible stuff, which is obviously from smoking and smoky atmosphere. It's just gone. Yes, I get a cold occasionally, but usually just once or twice a year, a sore throat. But I've never had to cancel a gig. And yeah, I didn't used to cancel gigs, but I would struggle. I couldn't hear any notes when I had a sore throat. And late nights, now early nights, it's really boring. Early nights, no smoking, no nothing, no men. So boring. Boring, but I can sing really, really well now.
Well, that's what we want. That's what we want to hear.
Exactly.
Alison Rennie says, if you can pass on that I absolutely admire her vocals. The band I was in did a few Happy Mondays covers and was in awe of her powerful voice. Just a general question of who inspired her to get singing back then. How did it all come about? Who else was on the scene that she sang for? And which bands or music inspire her now?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I didn't sing in the choir. I didn't sing at school. I wasn't allowed in the choir because I stood out too much when I auditioned. So then I was just into punk, really. So I didn't see myself as being a singer. But then there's a lady. She was dying of cancer. My mum was working in a pub to get some extra money because I was at a private school, and it was just meant to be. This woman overheard me singing a little bit and went, "You need to get on the stage downstairs in this pub." And I did, and the audience lots of them stood up. They were saying they were getting goosebumps. I was only singing something like without thinking, where I didn't know the words as well. And then I did a talent competition at Butlins. The same thing happened. Did a comedy song with a guitar, and again, people were saying there was something special about me and my voice. And that response from the audience, I just became absolutely hooked on. It's the biggest high when an audience loves you. You just feel this, and the emotion, the love that you get. It doesn't compare with anything. I get lots of love from people and my animals and whatever, but that love you get when you're on the stage, and still, not necessarily with Happy Mondays, but I'd sing a lot where people cry when I'm singing, especially with orchestras and stuff. But You do see it, the emotion that it brings out of people. There's something special about that. It's a gift. None of my family sing, so it's definitely a gift. I don't think anybody inspired me to sing. I mean, these singers I like, but they've got nothing to do with why I sing. In all different genres. So I love a lot of people's voices, but I don't go, I want to sing like that. And I think that's why I've got my own voice, my own different kind of voice, I think, because I don't try and copy anybody. I think a lot of the young girls today, there's loads of great singers, and you see that in all these talent competitions that come up. But there are a lot of them as trying to sound like Leona Lewis or trying to sound like Amy Winehouse. Nothing wrong with that because they're great singers, but you're probably not going to be as good as those. So maybe just sing because you enjoy it. Think about the words rather than trying to sound like people is the advice I'd give. And but I admire loads and loads of women singers. I'd be here all day of all different genres, from Debbie Harry to Aretha Franklin. Obviously, Aretha Franklin's an obvious one, but I like singers that a lot of people. Esther Iphram is one of my favourite singers, and she's a Jewish lady who's amazing when she was young. She's one of my favourite singers. But Gladys Knight I love. But there's loads and loads of brilliant singers, and just try and have your own voice, though, and try not to sound like people. Well, there's so many tribute bands at the moment trying to sound like people, and it's just a shame that they never made it on their own. There's some great talent there. It's a shame they can't be original.
Yeah, it seems to be that there's this one voice that a lot of young singers do in talent shows and stuff. They all seem to have a same sound. I suppose there's nothing wrong if you're if you're a teenager and you're maybe aspiring to be a singer, and maybe you do have that Amy Winehouse voice or whatever, you're inspired by someone, but it is all about having your own unique voice. And did you feel like you I mean, obviously you've probably got the most famous voice in the UK that I can think of. Did it take you a while to find your own voice as well, or
no?
No,
that's what I'm saying. I didn't even try. I just had this voice that I was told in the choir I can't be in the choir because I stand out too much, but I never tried to change it to blend in with the choir. So I didn't try to blend in. So I've always had this voice that doesn't really sound like anybody else. So that's why when I get sampled my voice, people don't always know it's me, but I have got one of those voices. I hear myself on the radio and I go, they've sampled me. Spot it straight away because I've got a distinctive voice, but it's because I didn't try to be like anyone. But Amy Winehouse was inspired by a lot of the singers from the 60s, but she had her own sound, her own voice. I think it's something about Jewish singers, and my mum was Jewish, so maybe it's that in my voice. I don't know, because as one of the singers I mentioned before, Esther Iphram, I might have said the name wrong, but she's one of my favourite singers. She's got this Jewish voice, and it's like the voice, it comes from nothing. But very, very, like Amy Winehouse, all the words, you really feel what she's singing about. And that's what I think the difference for me between Amy Winehouse and some other singers. Yes, she's got a brilliant voice, but a lot of people have got brilliant voices. She just really tells a story well and sings it beautifully with the most gorgeous melodies. Ian Curtis does that also, actually. Incredible, because I've sung a lot of Ian Curtis with Hooky back in the day, doing Joy Division songs. And I didn't realise until I sang the songs, his melodies and the way he sings them and his lyrics are just incredible. And so I'd be more apt to probably try and sing like Ian Curtis than other people, because I'm not trying to sing like him. I mean, by portraying the words the way he does, where you can really feel them when he's in pain. And when Amy Winehouse was in pain or going through something, you can tell by the way she sings. And I think when I sing something that really, if I've written it or if a line just hits me during a night as I'm singing something, you can tell by my voice that I mean it. I do it quite a lot with You've Got the Love. It's a song I sing quite a bit. And you can tell at the moment during all this pandemic and stuff, when I've come back and I've sung it, again, that's one that gets a lot of people crying. I think it's on an advert at the moment, actually, for Rouse Honey. So, it's the way you reach people. And that's all I've ever wanted to do with my singing. Because I do that. It's just that if I didn't get that response I got from when I'm singing, where people are touched by you singing and they feel it, then I think it'd just be like a bit robotic for me and not important. Even with the Mondays, I sing my little heart out with feeling them words, or it brings back memories. It's always meant something because obviously I've been in it for 30 years, so in that band, so it means a lot to me, all of it.
And just before we go as well, just talking about the new music, because I know that you've got a cracking tune on Spotify, Feel the Rush, Pool House.
Yeah, that's out now. I've got loads, though, to be honest. I've got loads and loads coming out.
Was it quite a productive streak you were on? Obviously being locked down because you couldn't go out and do your normal live gigs, just sort of working on new music from home.
we're not just me, it's everybody. So people that I wouldn't normally probably be able to work with because they'd be on tour. Solardo, Oliver Heldens, Todd Terry, really huge names within the house and dance music industry. These are like the legendary, some of them like Todd Terry and stuff. So I've been working with them because they're not on tour either. Everybody's in the same boat. But I've got this one with Pool House out, one with a guy called Vax. He's out this week called Nightlife. He's Canadian. But from all around the world, I've got lots and lots of tunes coming out, and I'm really, really proud of that. And yeah, the Deep Shakers, there's another one they're coming out soon. But I've also got something coming out with Gaz Cobain, Amorphous Androgynous, Paul Weller and I are singing.
Wow.
Paul Weller and me. Noel Gallagher's on drums and bass.
Wow.
Steve Craddock's on guitar. So yeah, Kate Bush's nephew's on violin. So and there's an orchestra involved in that as well. This is coming out really soon. It's Gaz Cobain who's producing it all. He's gone off. I've seen the artwork, so it's nearly there. But he's gone off for a month to listen to all the mixes, and I think we're nearly at the end of that month. So hopefully before Christmas, I'm hoping. He did promise it'd be out this year, so that'll be amazing. With me, Paul Weller on vocals, and loads and loads of other amazing people playing the music.
That is like a dream team super band right there.
Yeah, it is. It is, but it started 3 years ago, so it's been a long way. But the project that was coming out before our tune, that's been and gone now. So the time is almost. I thought it was going to be about a month ago, but he said, let me go away for a month. When he sent me the artwork, I thought, it's coming. But he said, let me just go away for a month. And he's right, really. So I've not listened to the final mixes, but he said it could end up being a 40-minute single. Not 14, 40-minute single. That's how good it is, because he doesn't know what to cut out. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's called Crossing Over or Mantra. That's a working title. I'm not sure which it's going to be called, but it's the Amorphous Androgynous. So look out for that. A lot of people will know him from Future Sound of London, Papua New Guinea. Amazing tune. So
amazing. And is Spotify the best place for people to keep up with all these tunes that are coming out? Or
well, they're for streaming, but your best bet is Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. I always post what's up next or when it's out and the gigs I do with the Mondays. Just any social media. But I'm on it all. But Spotify if you like to stream, Beatport if you like to download, or Tracksource if you like to download. But yeah, there's usually links though on my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Instagram, and I do Happy Mondays as well. So you can get us all on there. But I do try and keep it updated. Most mornings I get up about 6 in the morning, walk my dogs, and get on and post what I'm up to that week, or the Mondays are up to, or whatever's coming out in my house music. So yeah, you can always get me on social media. I don't always reply to direct messages though, so don't be sending any pictures of your willies or anything like that.
And what's next then? What's the next gig to look forward to?
Next gig is Sign of the Times with the Mondays in Hertfordshire. We just actually did one in Hertfordshire on Saturday. So we're back there again on Friday. And then I'm doing a private party for the people who run Kendall Calling. So that's in a field. That's on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to that. And then bank holiday, I'll be in Brighton with a load of house heads and soul heads. So it's going to be really, really good. A place called Block, Voodoo Disco, Guerrilla Movements launch party. So yeah, that's Brighton, bank holiday weekend. So that'll be good. I love Brighton.
Brighton is amazing. I played the Brighton Fringe a couple of times just to some spoken word stuff, and it's just a great place to go.
It is.
Very chilled vibes. Well, thank you very much, Rowetta. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking today. I thank you so much. I'll hopefully see you on the 30th of November. Happy Mondays at the Hydro. Are you coming up to Scotland for anything else?
I'm hoping to. Honestly, just sorting out dates at the moment. A lot of things have been clashing, so everyone's rescheduling. I was hoping to get to Scotland before I do the Hydro, to be honest, on my own to do a club night. But and also there might be something, because I think there's one in Sunderland, but Sunderland and maybe Scotland on the same day. But I'm not going to announce it because it probably won't happen because it's too many date clashes. No, it's just too difficult to get from once and make sure you're on stage in time, and now there's curfews everywhere as well. So if I'm on stage at 9 in one place, am I going to make it before, anyway. So, but I'll be there. I'll be back. I'll be back next year, loads. I do love Scotland. And Edinburgh I've not been to for ages. I've got loads of friends up there. Loads to everybody. Darren Glasgow from Edinburgh and Irene Taylor from Edinburgh. But I do have a lot of good friends up there. So, yeah. And all my mates in Glasgow. I love you all.
Well, thank you. Glasgow loves you, Rowetta. Thank you very much for your time. Good luck with all the stuff for everyone. Check out Rowetta on all the social media platforms.
Yeah, enough respect in the aspect of man like Mark. I love what the man talk on the radio. In case you never know. You call that radio, radio. Call that the radio, radio. You call that radio, radio. Call that the radio, radio. Come and say, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, just go with the flow. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, just go with the flow. Till you miss a mark, now go bend down low. Till you miss a mark, now go bend down low. Boom. Lot of mercy. Yo. You call that radio, radio. You call that radio, radio. Come and say don't you be a nether man, I'll go lose your head. Say don't you be a nether, me say and lose the head. Me say radio, radio. Call that a radio, radio. Straight from out of Glasgow, Glasgow. Straight from out of Glasgow, Glasgow. Nice enough on the studio, studio. Come and say eeny, meeny, miny, mo, just go with the flow. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, just go with the flow. Till you miss a mark, now go bend down low. Till you miss a mark, now go bend down low. No radio, radio. You call that the radio, radio. Them man a give you miss a lot of subject, and them a think a man you can't object. So don't you ever come and disrespect. I love and respect in a every aspect.